It is Greenwood week, ladies and gentlemen. This is the week we do expect that official announcement on what exactly is going to be done by Manchester United following the backlash after news that Mason Greenwood is officially approved and recognized as part of the Manchester United squad. It is the week we expect him at Carrington to be reinstated and join his teammates. But guess what? The Manchester United pretenders, they call themselves supporters, are certainly so focused on ensuring that this doesn't happen, with propaganda flying in from all directions, left, right, and center. Whereas the decision has been made, certain fans do feel Greenwood is the worst person. He can't be playing for our club. Nonsense. Hypocrisy of the highest level. I've got an update for you as well concerning the injury of Rasmus Hojlund, who is expected to be making his debut very soon. I'll tell you when. I tell you about the shirt number 9, who is surplus to requirements to many. That is Anthony Martial. Came on as a substitute in the last game against Spurs, but barely had any impact. And obviously now, is a subject to a transfer. What exactly is going to happen? Welcome to the hotspot. My name is Web. Subscribe. I'm back and burning, blazing hot. Certainly, it is going to be an exciting week. Now, let me start off with this injury update. Rasmus Hojlund. Now, we do know that we signed this player with a lot of expectations to come in and bang in the goals, but his debut has got to be delayed a bit, not because of liking and wanting, but mostly because of the lack of fitness of this player. If the boss, Erik ten Hag, and his statements are anything to go by, he made it clear that Hojlund is not 100% fit to the level of the rest of the players now, and you wonder if he's below the level of the players we have. Then it's worrying because they don't look fit at all, to be honest. But anyhow, he came with a small injury in the back, and he's expected to actually be making his debut soon. According to what we get, he posted actually on his Instagram, and he did make it clear that he's ready to come and start fighting and trying to look for the goals. And he hinted on his Instagram about a possible return, or rather return from injury, and a possible debut. And it is expected, from what we are gathering, that the good progress he's having with his back injury, he's expected to make his debut against Arsenal. That is according to what we are getting. In fact, people say, close sources say that we could even be surprised that he plays against Nottingham Forest. But the plan is to bring him against Arsenal. That is the game after the Nottingham game. Most likely, that is when Rasmus Hojlund could be making his debut, from what we gather. That is from close sources within the club. But at least we do know that he's active on social media, always wishing his teammates well, even when he's not part of the games. And this was his latest post on Instagram, and clearly saying he will be back soon, as you can see down there. That was the post from Rasmus Hojlund recently on his Instagram before the game against Tottenham Hotspur. So Rasmus Hojlund's injury is going on well. He's progressing. He's training. That's an image from the training as well. He was training with the team. So he's obviously progressing, and I think with time he should be able to impress the boss, Erik ten Hag, and he will come back and slide straight into the team and try to score the goals. But to be honest, in all fairness, I'm not sure that even when he came, of course, what he brings when he comes and is fit playing is he releases Marcus Rashford to play in his preferred position, because Rashford is always bored playing as a number 9. He's not patient enough to be a number 9. He wants to be involved in play. He's bored, but when he's flying in from the left, he's obviously going to look good. So if Rasmus Hojlund is there as the number 9, then Marcus Rashford is playing off the left, then I think it gives us a better dimension. I think, again, it will depend on how the two work together. I feel like then Marcus Rashford would actually give us his best if he has got someone who carries more of the load of scoring the goals. So I'm excited about it, but I would be more excited seeing these two, Rashford playing with Rasmus Hojlund, but with Greenwood flying in from the other flank. But unfortunately, where we are now, people are fighting Greenwood's return. So many people, and again, sometimes I actually feel like there are some undertones of racism at times in this, attack on Greenwood and his return. People are unforgiving when everyone else is forgiving. it defeats logic. It doesn't make sense. But trust you me, this is a war we shall win. The beauty is that the club has agreed to bring him back in the squad. He is in the squad. That was done and dusted. Now bringing him physically to train with the rest of the team is what they have got to force through. And trust you me, no storm shall stop this. No weapon formed against Greenwood's return will prosper. It's not going to happen. Greenwood will come and play at Manchester United. Guys, don't you even have sleepless nights over that. I'm telling you, mark my word, regardless which the man of backlash these are, people with racist undertones will come with, trust you me, Greenwood will come and he will play football at Manchester United again. Mark my word. I've told you that. But anyhow, away from Greenwood and Rasmus Hojlund, Anthony Martial is attracting interest. Yes, Martial is attracting interest from several clubs, both in the UK and outside of the UK. The latest interest is coming through from, it should be Al Hilal, that is a team from Saudi Arabia. But also, apparently, West Ham United are still interested in doing business with Manchester United. And they are also willing to go into a bidding war with Saudi. Now, that is an interesting one because, trying to go into a bidding war with Saudi, again, is interesting. It will certainly all depend on the player. And if that bid went in, it will depend on the player. If Martial wants to stay in Europe or he wants to make money. If I were him, I would go for the money because his fitness is subject to doubt. But anyhow, never matters. So Martial apparently is attracting interest from Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia and West Ham United. So we should expect that bid to come through. I think Martial is a player who can get us a cool 30 million, 25 to 30 million pounds, or at most 40, to be honest. He can get us a decent figure. And if we got that, and I hope we try to push this through, if we got that money, obviously the first thing we should be doing is to go straight to Fiorentina and pay for Sofian Amrabat straight up, because whatever money we can get from Anthony Martial, I'm sure can get us Amrabat without even topping up a penny. So that's where we are. So I think the biggest prayer for any United supporter right now should be for that deal to go through. Of course, lately we are in the habit of agreeing terms and for players with clubs, and they are eventually vetoed. They don't happen because the players somehow don't want and all. So we've got to again keep our fingers crossed. But I do think it will be good for Manchester United if Martial left now and we got a cool 30 million. Certainly it will be, I think, decent enough for us to go and bid for a backup for Casemiro, because that's the elephant in the Manchester United room right now. So it's very important that we do make that sale. So the selling now, I think we should change our approach in terms of how we sell players. I think the approach now should be more of us vending these players to these clubs, because clearly we don't have players that are that attractive to so many clubs. So the few that have been flattered by clubs are a bit overpriced to some of these clubs we negotiate with, or the players don't want to go there. So I think the approach should be for John Mata to start vending these players together with Richard Arnold. They should vend players to clubs. Take these players to Saudi, sit the players down, talk to them, vend them to Saudi if you have to. But the thing is, we've got to clear out players as early as yesterday before we lose so many games into the season. The worst case scenario for Manchester United now would be us losing to Nottingham Forest. I think then that would call for mean something different. And of course, I've had lots of people calling for Erik ten Hag's head just after 2 games played, and of course people are now attacking him. Of course, I understand where they're coming from. Mason Mount, none of us, to be honest, understood why the rush and the insistence on signing Mason Mount. We didn't know what problem he was solving, and clearly he doesn't look to be it 2 games into the season. To be honest, even in preseason, he was never exciting for me, to be honest. But again, certain players need time to grow into a new style, a new atmosphere, and all. So we hope he will get the time and he will perform. But from the way Erik ten Hag was so insistent on Mason Mount, we thought probably he's going to be an instant hit. But anyhow, there are never instant hits in the Premier League. Never in the Premier League. Not in football, really. So we can give him the time, but of course we are watching, and Ten Hag knows the world is watching, because no one was so excited or contented with the 55 million for Mason Mount. Also at that time when we needed players in backups for Casemiro. Right now we are struggling, not because of Mason Mount, but because we lack someone to support Casemiro, and that has been the case since the start of the season. So if Ten Hag chose to go and spend 55 million on Mason Mount, we certainly want to see the value for money. We have not seen it yet, unfortunately, but We are patient. So the people calling for Ten Hag's head, I think you are again the same Manchester United pretenders and hypocrites. But you've got to be patient. But that's where we are. The most important thing this week is that Mason Greenwood will be major. There will be major updates. They could even be on Monday. Major updates concerning him. I told you, I broke it for you a long time ago that he was already approved to be back and be part of the squad. And now it is a matter of managing, people and bringing him physically back to train with the rest of the teammates. But we will get to know it. I expect to see Greenwood at Carrington this week. By the way, that's my expectation. I think he's going to be at Carrington this week, and I think there will be a huge backlash. Maybe people, demonstrating and all. But trust you me, it's nothing they won't forget about when this boy comes in there, partners with Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Hojlund, bangs in the goals, and we are all cheering. United is competing for the title. No one will remember Greenwood and whatever issues he had. So these pretenders as well will again change their minds about him. Maybe that's what it will take. All I want is for Manchester United to stick to their decision and not be moved and threatened by this whole, media, backlash with undertones, with racial undertones that's going on. Sad, sad, sad stuff happening. But anyhow, that's where we are, and that's where football is. Hotspot. My name is Webb. Our next game will be against Nottingham Forest. Trust me, if we don't win this one, but we will win it. Catch you later, guys.